I want to start by saying that the lack of education on this post is terrifying. I'll link the video below. Okay, let's begin.
Modern day eggs and milk are vegan.
Sorry, what?
Modern day eggs are not fertilized. They're never going to turn into chickens. And they're going to be laid either way because that's how birds work. So humans are doing them a favor by consuming them so that they don't rot.
Humans are doing them a favor. A favor? Egg-laying hens do not just exist. They are bred into existence. And not only that, but they are manipulated to lay 30 times more eggs than they naturally would. All male chicks born in the egg industry are dropped alive into an industrial blender called a macerator. Why? Because of course they are useless to the industry since they don't lay eggs. The egg-laying hens, whether they be enriched cage, free range, organic, are all enslaved in horrible conditions. You can see for yourself in exposés of enriched cage and free range facilities. I'll leave the investigations down below or in my bio. After a life of enslavement and misery, when their egg production declines, they are gassed to death. Humans are not doing these hens any favours when they force them into miserable existences like this. You're not doing them a favour by viewing them as products. These hens lose so many essential nutrients because of the modifications of their bodies. The only thing that humans should be doing with their eggs is feeding them back to them to help restore some of those lost nutrients.
Jersey cows, or the typical dairy cows, create far more milk for far longer than their calves need. So we're helping them by milking them because they're going to be in pain from having too much milk.
Let's just get this straight. Dairy cows do not exist in the wild. They are genetically modified into existence. In their case, to produce up to 10 times more milk than they naturally would for greedy humans. Dairy cows have to be pregnant to produce milk. And how does this happen? The birds and the bees? No. More often than not, they are artificially inseminated. Also known as farmer shoves their entire arm into the cow's anus to hold the cervix in place while they put a pipette full of bull semen into the cow's. The cow has a 9-month pregnancy, and when she gives birth, what happens to her calf? If he's male, dispose of him. He's useless to the dairy industry. That's right, that means kill the newborn baby. And if the calf is female, she's taken away from her mother, put into solitary confinement, and her fate will be to one day replace her mother. So back to the mother, she will be used for her milk, which means repeatedly impregnated, calves taken, hooked up to painful milking machines, until her body is completely exhausted, her production has declined, and she will be sent to the slaughterhouse, bolt gunned in the skull, and her body parts used as second-grade cuts of meat.
This also means that wool is vegan. Because sheep can die from not being sheared.
There is nothing ethical about wool. The majority of wool sheep are used for both their meat and their wool. So the industries are basically linked. Wool sheep are modified to grow insane amounts of wool. In fact, they've been genetically modified so their hair doesn't shed. The majority of the world's apparel wool comes from Australia, where lambs are mutilated in the most horrific way. They have their tails chopped off and they are mulesed, which is basically where they slice the back of their legs and near their bum, they slice that skin off. The most horrific, horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. There have been countless investigations exposing the results of fast shearing. Many of the wool sheep are sold into the live export trade, where they are shipped off on overcrowded boats to countries with no slaughter guidelines. There are countless stories of these poor sheep dying of heat exhaustion on these boats. Just awful. And it's important to state that no matter if the sheep are shipped off on boats or they stay in their country, they have the same fate. Their throats slit, their bodies cut into pieces, and their bodies sold for human consumption. The only way to ethically treat animals is to not exploit them, not enslave them, not view them as products that we can use, and not murder them. Animals are innocent, faultless, they've never done anything wrong to anyone, so shouldn't we protect them? It's really easy to be vegan. It's just a decision. You decide that your actions are going to align with the morals that you already have. Animals matter and deserve respect and protection.